Some of the most beautiful sunsets you would have, and the stars. The sunsets, because of the amount of dirt and dust in the air, you would get like 32 layers of color off of the mountains. And it was just this brilliant colors of pinks and oranges and browns that they're still seared into my memory about just how beautiful the place could be, even though it was the dark side of the moon in as far as rock and dirt and not much greenery. Anywhere the people were around the water. You could always tell there was water around if there was houses and small orchards and stuff that they would build next to the waterway. Anything else, there was not a chance. The village of Bum, Afghanistan, we watched it overnight. The next morning we saw people walking out of the village with jugs, and they walked for an hour to get water and they walked an hour to get back. Every day they had to go an hour walk with water. And you know, you can't fathom that here in Canada. I mean, the water's as far as the tap is in most cases. Yet, you know, they survive. They live. They manage every day. And a friend of mine, her mom asked her to describe Afghanistan. And she said, "Mom, you remember watching Passion of the Christ?" She goes, "Yep." She goes, "Picture that, but less Romans and add cell phones." That's Afghanistan. You would see a man ride up on a camel, and he would throw one leg over the hump, and he would stop and watch what we were doing, and then he'd reach into his robe, and out would come the cell phone, and he would start making conversation. So, you know, there's these juxtapositions of these things. It's hard to fathom sometimes. You'd go into a village, you'd hear what sounded like an exercise bike. You look over into a compound, there's a kid pedaling away on a bicycle, and he was providing power for the TV inside the mud hut. And the mud hut had a satellite dish coming out of the side of the mud hut. And you're just like, how can this be possible? You know, you're in the middle of nowhere, and yet things happen that you wouldn't expect. So the people, in the most part in Afghanistan, were incredibly welcoming. We would pull into a village that had never seen American, Canadian, NATO forces at all. We were going into some pretty wild places in the Shawalikot Mountains, and the terrain is rugged and steep and diverse. And we would go into the village, and they would come out with tea, and they would bring you chai. It was torchai or shni chai, black tea or green tea, and they would offer it to you. And it's hot out, and you're thinking, "Oh God, I don't want anything hot," but you'd have it to help you cool down. And we would have sentries up on the hillsides, and they would walk up with tea to all the sentry positions and give every soldier some tea. And once you'd been allowed into invited into their village, they were very friendly. And the best part about my job being PsyOps is I was giving out soccer balls to the kids. I was giving out flags to the village elder. I was giving out leaflets and pamphlets to the children. And what we'd do is, instead of just giving them a piece of paper, we would fold it up into a paper airplane, and we would show them how to fold them and make paper airplanes. And the kids were fascinated with this, because it was something it was something to play with. They usually had rocks. That's what the kids played with. They threw rocks at each other. So a paper airplane was a completely, you know, incredible invention for them. They absolutely loved that sort of stuff. So, you know, you could make some inroads with the kids. I was given a camera and a video camera and told to record my experiences over there for use for PsyOps purposes, but also to record the battle group's mission. And so I had one of the best jobs, because I was taking videos and photo the whole time. But it was very much a culture that wanted all of the perks of modern living, all of the benefits of modern civilization, but had not come out of what I felt was like the Stone Age.